what's up? Greetings, what's up? This is Fair None, and yeah, I gotta get this. Okay, starting over right now. I'm actually trying to not simulcast, but I'm recording on Facebook, and I'm going live on Facebook, and I'm recording on my computer at the same time. And this is my latest word sound. Greetings to all of you who are watching. If you're watching right now, what I'd like to ask you is that when you enter the building, please share this message on as many platforms as you possibly could. I'm sharing some very important information right now. As the title implies, or as it says in the title, this is part 3 of what the world was, what it is, what the powers that should not be want it to be, and what the world could become according to my vision. Yes, my vision, Cacique, Fear None, Everlasting. Now, there's a lot to be done in the world. My vision actually entails the changing, the exposition and changing of just about everything that we know that is based on falsehood and leads to the destruction of every known individual or organism on this plane of existence. Some people call it a planet. Now, I'm not going to get too long-winded in my initial address. What I want you guys to do, again, remind you that if you get a chance, as you enter the building, as you become familiar with this broadcast, what I want you to do is, what's up, Gunrich Flacco, is I want you to share this on as many platforms as you could. So, beginning, I'm going to get right into it. What the world was, what it is, what the powers that should not be want it to become, and what the world could become according to my vision, part 3. Let's get it. It is once again my distinguished pleasure to be able to address you on a myriad of topics regarding the state of being of everyone that currently occupies this plane of existence. What y'all think about the arrows behind me? Oh yeah, I'm going to explain the significance of that a little later. Greetings. I am Fear None. Hold on one second. Greetings. I am Fear None. My last production of a similar title was several weeks ago. What the world was, what it is, and what the powers that should not be wanted to become, and what the world could become according to my vision, part 2. This is my 3rd installment. Looking back, it was pretty good. It was totally well received, like all of my productions, and it went to the heart of issues that I said I was going to speak of. Since then, I've been contemplating on what major issues I should tackle next. Excuse me. There are so many. Sorry about that. There are so many. I do these things in the order, trying to master this thing here so that I can scroll properly. I do these things in the order that I feel are most important. Actually, to be honest, I do not decide at all. There's a spirit inside of me that moves me to behave the way that I do and to choose the verbal expressions that I write and speak about on a regular basis. I just go with it. I like its presence, and it makes me feel safe and confident, rich and alive. Yes, I do realize the implications of what I just said. I am possessed. Rah! No, not in that way. It's not like I'm venom or something and I want to bite people's heads off. No, quite the opposite. I am possessed by the spirit of love and under and inner and overstanding, whatever you want to call it, and it is good. You know, I gotta say that I don't mind being possessed by a spirit that is gonna produce good works and help me to walk in a manner that I could help inspire others to become their own best versions as well. For those who are already thinking about it, I gotta warn you that this spirit within me has a dark side too. And if you don't want to meet him, and you don't want to meet him because he will bite the fuck off of that head more efficiently than venom ever could. Maybe not faster, but clean off just the same. I'm sorry, I'm having problems scrolling. Yeah. But maybe not faster, but clean off just the same. It is a warrior spirit. And what I'm trying to say is, do not confuse my words and my mannerisms with someone you would ever even dream of fucking with. I have nothing to lose. And if you feel that you do have something to lose, then choose a softer target, because I will make you regret it. I promise you. So, I was saying that I was contemplating what issue I was going to tackle next, and the spirit within me showed me things that I guess I needed to see in order to help me get this next message out. In my last correspondence, I promised to give practical solutions to the many problems that humanity faces as a species. I cannot live up to this promise at this time because I still had not done enough justice to capture the essence of the subjects that were being spoken about already. How could I? There was too much to cover in such a short time, and there were only 2 productions at the time. For subjects of such tremendous proportions, pains have to be taken to ensure that everything is explained properly and not glossed over. I do realize that with so much unsaid, I would probably end up saying all of these things in future productions anyway, as I continue. But the points of view that I expressed then, although I am sure it would be just as well explained at those times, would be better contextually received in this compilation until it is completed. I could then repeat them in the future if I so choose, but these things have to be spoken now. It is for that reason that I've decided that the title of this word sound is as it is entitled above. Getting started. Acknowledgments and thanks are due to the father and mother of everything in existence. I thank you for everything, seen and unseen. Your abundance of love and mercy that you show my brothers and sisters in humanity and I are unfathomable. I love you, and I appreciate you, and I adore you. Thank you for hanging in there with me and noticing me. Thank you for hearing and listening to my cries. Thank you for rescuing me from myself on so many different occasions. Thank you for delivering me from the hands of those who makes themselves my enemies. Thank you for teaching my hands and feet to fight and for giving me the courage to stand up for what is right. Courage is the greatest of the virtues, and thank you for making me free from the grasp of fear of other earthly beings, because only you deserve to be feared. Thank you for my many gifts, among them discernment, self-confidence, eyes and ears to really see and hear, and intolerance for evil works, and an indomitable spirit. Thank you, Mother, for so much. Hi, Holly. Thank you, Mother, for so much, for being my comforter, the one who soothes and reassures me when I am uncertain, when I am afraid. There are times when I am afraid of not people, but circumstances, and in those times, my mother, my comforter, my soother is there. There's never been a time when either one of you has not been there for me throughout my difficult times. You've proven to me over and over again that you love me. There's nothing left to prove to me. I know that those who make themselves my enemies could not overcome me except by your permission. I know that your spirit speaks to me. Hold on one second. I know that your spirit speaks to me. I know that as long as I continue to allow you to order my footsteps, that I cannot fail. I walk around daily with this confidence. Knowing this and all the dangers that go along with my daily undertakings, I proceed as though the dangers are not even there because I know that you are there with me. Shout out to the many kind souls who on a daily basis support my effort to remain independently employed through their support of my water and mango hustle and through their many generous donations. I appreciate you. Shout out to the people who have been liking, sharing, and supporting my content in other ways on social media. Your support and your responses to my productions let me know that I am on the right path. Now, before I get into this, I would like to remind everyone of what the intentions behind my activism are and to exactly whom my fidelity lie, not necessarily in that order. My fidelity or loyalty is to what I perceive to be the truth. More specifically, the Almighty and His wife, the Comforter. And of course, I have to add myself and a few other people here and there, like my children, for example. I don't see myself necessarily as being disloyal to anyone else. I have no prejudices toward anyone except those who have previously shown or are currently showing or have openly declared at one point or another that they are against the general good welfare of humanity and all life forms that are on this plane of existence. If you fit this description, then yes, I have a problem with you. You are my enemies, and I am an enemy to you. My intentions are simple. There are 4 common states of existence with regard to consciousness and awareness of facts and information as it pertains to how it affects our lives by what we do with it, and then there is a 4th. My intentions are to get you to that 4th state of existence that I will identify in a minute. My method to get you there is to equip the listener with the use of knowledge. To put it simply and commonly, knowledge affects us in different ways. Knowledge and how it is used, and in case you didn't know, is the critical deciding factor in all things relating to our successfully navigating through this plane of existence. How we respond to what we know and do not know could be classified in these 4 different states of existence that I am planning to identify shortly. The first of them is called ignorance, which is the state of not knowing because presumably of a lack of information available, which I'll address in a second. Actually, the best word for what I just described is called nescience. Nescience is another state. Nescience is a lack of knowledge of a thing because of the fact that a particular thing could not be known by that individual at the time. The information is considered to be, or is thought to be unavailable, and the individual on some level the information is considered to be unobtainable for that particular individual. Therefore, that individual could not be expected to act in things or in matters that he or she had no knowledge of. The difference between ignorance and nescience is that with ignorance, the information is presumably thought to be available, and the individual on some level either knows the truth and has simply chosen to take actions inconsistent with what he or she knows, in other words, ignores this knowledge. Or the word itself also implies that the information is somehow obtainable to the individual, but to definitively seek it out would give that person the responsibility of having to act upon the knowledge that could possibly change their personal narrative. And what willfully ignorant person wants that? So they avoid that behavior. So the third state that I wanted to talk about is called stupidity. Stupidity is behavior that implies that an individual, stupidity is behavior that implies that an individual has a bad sense of judgment, meaning that the individual has knowledge but chooses to use it incorrectly. And finally, the last stage, prudence, which is defined as an individual that shows wisdom in the management of practical affairs. An individual that is prudent is proven to be wise in action. The use of what he or she knows, they use what he or she knows to their fullest and best advantage. This is the state of being that it is my intention to get most of humanity to. I know it's a big job for one person, but I do not intend to ongoing about it alone. That is what I'm recruiting you and other people like you for. I know it is a big job for one person. So the good part of all of this is that I'm not asking anything more of you than to become more aware and knowledgeable, because I know that everything else at that point will fall right into place. Now, this message is not meant for everybody. Actually, it is, but not everyone is going to take the same things away from it. This message is meant for who it is meant for. You know who you are. Actually, the people that I'm speaking about deserve better than that. Why go to the extreme of saying all that I have to say, and then when I get to the point of identifying my target audience, I generalize? Can't let that happen. But I gotta warn you, I'm gonna be opening such a big can of worms when addressing this issue. This is the point that I begin to offend certain ones of you all. Not intentionally, but as a byproduct of what it is that I am offering you. Let me tell you how this is going to go down. Let me tell you how this is going to go down. I'm going to say some shit, probably already did, that the listener is going to be in complete agreement with. That person, when hearing the facts that resonates within their spirit, is going to say to his or herself, hey, this guy is really cool, but wait, not so fast, because that's only because I haven't gotten around to identifying the shortcomings that those individuals have. You know, it's always great to be able to sit there and watch the other group of people get chewed out for shit that we all know that they didn't do or benefit from. Shit that everyone else always wanted to say, but for whatever reason, political correctness, fair, or whatever, didn't. Then all of a sudden, somebody like myself starts saying the things that need to be said, and you could be cool with that 100% because they are not talking about you. They are not identifying your faults. They are not asking you to change. They are not saying that you are fucked up. In fact, they're not saying anything bad about you at all. They are glorifying you in some way while smiting others with words. These people are not asking you to take accountability for your own actions, yet they come in the spirit of wanting to help you. The only point of view that we hold is legitimate. That's what they say. They think that you are stupid, and to be honest, based on the reactions of the people that they address with this foolishness, I would have to agree with them on this one big thing. This is how you know that somebody is a phony and that the truth is not in them. This is when you know that the person that is addressing you is not in it for the right reasons. Excuse me, I got a little sniffles here. Okay, so I'm gonna try to work through that. And I'm sorry for speaking so slowly. having a little technology issue here that I'm trying to work through, and trying to multitask at the same time. So, you know, it's not, things are not really working out as well as I like, but hopefully the message is coming through clearly. So, what was I saying now? Getting back to what I was saying. So that's how you know that somebody is phony and that the truth is not in them. And that's when you know that the person that is addressing you is not in it for the right reasons. Everyone has got to take accountability for their own actions or lack thereof as individuals. Collectively, we cannot do that until we get our own individual houses in order. Everyone will not experience the growth that you do at the time that you do. Some may not experience any significant growth at all. Does that mean that you should not because of them? Or should you exercise your own discernment as I suggest? Now, I'm going to say some shit to all people because I want to get to the root of humanity's many problems. As a resolutionary, that's what we do. We attempt to resolve things. And I cannot see us sincerely even beginning to resolve anything without putting all of the facts on the table. Otherwise, I believe that I'm just wasting myself and everyone else's time. And with that said, I'm getting ready to really say some shit. And it is likely that the many fake people out there that I know will become offended because I'm asking them to become aware of some stuff. And I'm asking them to be accountable for their many individual actions. I always say that these grown folks out here are like children. In fact, they are worse than children because they know better, yet they still refuse to hold themselves accountable for any reason. It's always someone else's fault, never yours. Yeah, I've heard that before, and I'm sure the majority of you, you have as well. Right now, I'm the messenger, and nobody likes the messenger. And at a time in my life when I'm personally at peace with myself and all that exists, I risk all of that to do the job that I know that I was born to do. Those of you that have watched the movie 300 will appreciate this reference that I'm getting ready to make. Now, some news is not easy to carry out, but it must be just the same. At this moment, I feel like the Persian emissaries riding into King Leonidas's territory in Sparta, knowing that I'm gonna have to say some fucked up shit to the king, and the king is definitely not gonna like it, and that it is possible that I will be kicked down a seemingly unending hole for the things that I'm about to say. The fact of the matter is that although I don't mind being popular and saying the things that people like to hear, I do mind being fake, and I don't even have it in me. So, for the next few minutes or so, I will expose you all to what I call the shock treatment. And what you're about to see and hear is gonna fuck a lot of y'all heads up. So, remember, I'm going on mild and gentle here today. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. And remember, you've been warned. I hope that I don't get kicked down a hole for this one. Oh well. I've been on a spiritual journey of truth for as long as I could remember. It has taken me all over the place. And finally, right back to where I began. I've gone from being so-called black aware and about black empowerment, not necessarily hating anyone else for who they are, but what they have done, to trying to have an understanding of and therefore promote the unification of all beings on this plane of existence. And after gaining a greater understanding of the facts found in multiple different disciplines, I've come full circle. I am for the universal edification of all Aboriginal indigenous peoples worldwide. And if you do not know what that is exactly, do some research. Hi, Holly. Oh, and by the way, this does not mean that I'm against anyone of any other social distinction unless they fit the parameters of who I identified earlier as my enemies and who I am an enemy to. And, oh, and by the way, this does not mean that people who are considered indigenous gets a pass either. My enemies are my enemies, and if you've been listening closely, you know who they are. This is my new purpose, same as my original purpose when I started out in this thing nearly 3 decades ago. Only then I was unsure of what I was getting into. And on some level, I felt apologetic about looking out for my kind alone. It wasn't until I ran the full gamut of the matrix and I gained a contextual realization of the true historical atrocities that have taken place that cause Aboriginal indigenous peoples worldwide to suffer from the same conditions no matter where we are in the world, that my purpose became clear. I have no reason to feel guilty for that at all. It was this guilt that I felt, wanting to not be identified and not actually be part of the problem, that has held me back from my purpose of doing my hardest to uplift my people. So I went on a fact-finding mission to find out for myself the answer to what the world's problems are, because I had full intentions on solving them. People told me that the root of it was racial. And when I was a child, the movie Roots first made me aware of this, but for some reason, due to propaganda, cultural reinforcement, education, or whatever, I had lost my way. At some point, the previously unthinkable happened, at least in the minds of those individuals who had known me for some time. I had an interracial relationship that lasted 16 years and produced 2 beautiful children. I didn't want to believe it at first. Now looking back, I could see that from that moment on until that relationship ended, I had changed. I did everything in my power to try to disprove what was being said about the people of other so-called racial classes, and couldn't, and what they did to my people over a course of time that still continues to this day. And I couldn't disprove any of that. The evidence just became more and more clear to me. And I did this to fit my narrative because I had been in an racial relationship. I tried to make what I had done make sense. I had realities. I had offspring, and I had a mate, and things had just become confusing, which is just, and with the realities that actually existed, where in my mind somehow I believed that everyone else was sincere towards my people, which hadn't been reality. I was kind of actually setting myself up for later on finding out that this indeed was not the case, and I had to return to my roots. You feeling me? Anyway, I did everything in my power to disprove what was being said about the people of other so-called racial classes and what they did to my people over a course of time that still continues to this very day. Now, during this period, I was continually gaining new knowledge that made me angry, and I did not know what to do with this new knowledge. I was walking both worlds. My children are a combination, as I said, of both worlds, as sweet as they are. I was in a confused state. On the other hand, I was a promoter. I dealt with people from all over the world on a daily basis on the streets of St. Thomas, USVI. Therefore, I know people because I've dealt with them personally. No one could tell me anything good or bad about people because I've met them. My personal conclusion is that people are people. That's all I could say on a personal level. Some are good and some are bad, inherently speaking, of course. But if I were to speak on that issue, speaking about people when it comes to groups and their practices historically, especially, when it comes to the way my people have been treated by these groups, you are all a bunch of fucked up motherfuckers. Shame on you. Each and every one of your groups of people have fucked us up real bad, and you haven't done anything to correct it. Now back to you individuals. No, I do not hold you personally accountable. No, not now. Why? Because my people are largely players in this game to hold themselves down. And because I personally have not communicated to you guys candidly, en masse, as I'm attempting to do right now, what I am expecting from you yet. So you could consider this fair notice. Don't worry, there will be more after this, and there will be others who come after me. I guarantee this. You will get your chance to know what is expected of you at some point if you do not wish to be counted upon among this lot spoken of. Now, you might not care what I as one person expects of you, but I warn you, I am just one person expressing myself at this moment. I'm not the only one. The shit is being separated from the sugar right now, and the wheat from that of the chaff. So if you're a member of any other ethnic sect other than my own, you need to know that despite your best efforts, oh, my battery is running low, ain't that something? Despite your best efforts, we are here to stay, and you will not be getting rid of us. So you will not be enslaving us anymore, and you will not be affecting those conscious ones of us in any negative way from now on. Your system is collapsing right before your eyes, and you can't hide behind it and work cooperatively against us anymore. There is, as Bob Marley proclaimed several decades ago, a natural mystic flowing through the air. That's right, the truth is being made plain. It was the only missing element. And with guys like me around to help spread it, it's done. What I'm trying to say is that we ain't going nowhere, so you better start trying to work honestly and sincerely with us, or not. It's up to you. And I'm not just getting on other so-called races either. My people suck shit too. I mean, come on, let's all admit it right now. We all fucked up, ain't we? Me too. At least I could admit it though. How many of you out there could? At least with me, every day I get less and less fucked up because I take accountability for my shortcomings. And I don't make excuses for not trying to become my own best version every day, which is all I'm asking of you to do and nothing else. Is that too much to ask? Because if it is, I'm letting you know right now, stay the heck away from me. You are not welcome in my company, and I will do the same when it comes to you. This is the part where certain ones of you will begin to take exception to the things that I've been saying. Some of you have already begun to think that kicking me down a seemingly never-ending hole probably isn't such a bad idea. What's the matter? Something I said? I asked you to take accountability for your own actions and pointed out certain facts about your people. I said that you are fucked up. Did I lie about any of that at all? I mean, if you're thinking about kicking me down a hole and letting me know where I am, this is Sparta. You should at least have a good reason for wanting to do so. And that's what I mean about being grown children. And that's what I mean about not wanting to take accountability for your own actions. That's what I mean by putting everything out on the table for review and discussion or debate. If we all took accountability for ourselves in the way we lived our lives, if we learned to treat each other more kindly, if we took notice of virtues like honesty, integrity, truth, courage, and other things of the sort as individuals, everything would fall right into place and we would be living in a better world eventually. Now, this is my greatest wish, and this is why I have manifested onto this plane of existence at this particular time in history to help do greatest work that could ever be done, to help this world become a better place by helping to awaken everyone within the sphere of the platforms that I could reach them and awaken them to the fact that we are living in the greatest time of human existence ever. Humanity finally has a chance to be free, and we could help. Isn't that great? If you do not spiritually evolve quickly enough, you are likely to perish. And let me share something else with you. All man-made laws are redundancies. Universal law established by the Almighty and His wife applies to everyone and everything and trumps all of those laws. Ignorance of those laws are no excuse. This is a time in our existence that we as a species are required to know these laws. Life was simple, but it is not anymore. What I'm trying to tell you in a slick way is that you've been living under grace this entire time. You've had every opportunity to pursue the truth, which is essential to your well-being. The grace period is now over, and from now on, see how slow I'm speaking? It's so that y'all could understand. The grace period is now over, and from now on, you will be treated as though you had known the truth all along. Am I getting through to you? Am I? Are you feeling me right now? Now, if you don't spiritually evolve, let me say it again, and evolve in knowledge, you will perish. According to the VIZ website, many already are, if you catch my drift. You know, that government website where they report certain information. Now, if you don't know what that is and you have a smartphone, ask Siri or Alexa to take you there. Then you'll see what I'm talking about more clearly. This is the time of spiritual evolution, and the truth has been hidden from the common people for so long that they had no choice but to accept the lie. Sorry, I gotta plug my phone in. They had no choice but to accept the lie. This made it difficult for those who are aware that want to live in truth to do so. We had to live according to the paradigm of lies. If things ever did make sense under this arrangement, it should have been a big surprise, because you're not supposed to be able to make sense out of something that you know is a lie. There's a lot of lies being told out there too. Now, if this ever did happen, something is wrong. I'm sure that there's a lot of you that had listened this far into this correspondence that are wondering where I'm going with this. And I have news for those individuals. I do not spend my waking hours studying, contemplating, and working on myself as a person and putting all these things into perspective in order that you may be entertained. This is not produced for your listening pleasure. This is all leading somewhere, and I need for all of us who are concerned about the matters that I speak about to be on the same page. I am now going to share some facts that many of you listening will reject right off the rip. But that's okay though. It won't change anything in my eyes. Things will continue as planned, whether you like it or not. First, I'd like to reintroduce myself to the world, because I've taken on a new identity yet again. I am Cacique Fair None of the everlasting Arawak tribe, the first of my kind. I am the new patriarch of my direct lineage. Some of you who know me may have just spit the drinks that you're drinking out of your mouths because you're gasping to recover from what I just said. And you're finally saying, what? Chief Cacique of the Fair None Everlasting Tribe. What? Now, how I justify this is the fact that I've been reclassified, just as the majority of the so-called black and brown people listening to me today was. In my case, specifically, it's not specifically known to me. Hold on. In my case specifically, hold on, trying to get this thing right. Technical difficulties, sorry. Okay. In my case specifically, it is not specifically known to me whether or not the people that I am descendant of were ever enslaved at any point. What is definitively known to me, however, is the fact that my lineage in the Caribbean and in the Americas could be traced back to the pre-colonial era. This is important, and I will tell you why in a minute. The free and compulsory education that I got from a government that I'm sure was just looking out for me led me to believe that I and everyone else who looked like me was the descendant of a slave and that we all came from Africa. Remember, they got us really young and fed us all this Kunta Kizzy and fiddler and master bullshit in order to make us think that we were not from here. We were from Africa. Now, why do you think they would want to do that, you may ask? To separate you or us from any claim that we may have to the land. That's why. Because the fact is, and it's well established, even the United Nations, and so this is, that battle has been fought, and that ship has sailed. So if you behind the times and you don't recognize, you better learn to recognize and do your research, because this is fact. Because the fact is, we were here and throughout the Americas for thousands of years before Columbus has ever set foot here. This is our land, all of the Americas, even the corrupt corporate United States government and the other 192 sovereign nation states that make up the member states of the United Nations recognize the fact that they are colonizers and that steps are to be taken to establish the indigenous peoples as a protected class that is allowed, if we wish, to operate fully outside the spectrum of corporate governance. Did you understand what I just said and the implications of that? The only thing is they just didn't expect that indigenous peoples like myself would find out who we are so quickly, and that once informed, that we wouldn't know exactly what to do with this information. The fact is that not only are we now aware, we also know what to do with this information. Things are going to change. In my case, the immediate answer was to reclassify myself, which I did, and many will now follow. I will not give away any of the other goodies right now. Just know that very shortly, things are about to change. In the meantime, even though some of you are able to catch this message on social media, it will never go viral because I'm being shadow banned. The social media gods don't want messages like this to do so. Therefore, I am rolling up my sleeves and coming out with some digital social media of my own in the form of jump drives or DVDs to get my message out to my supporters. I will be asking for a free will donation in the minimum amount of $1 for my DVDs, and depending upon the cost of the jump drives, I will be asking for a donation of at least that amount in order to be able to put it into your hands. Hold on. To be able to put it into your hands. The proceeds will be used as seed money to establish businesses to support our school. Yes, that's right, we're gonna have a school. The Indigenous Intelligence Institute and many other projects. I am encouraging those of you who would like to support to do so and give generously when you could. This effort, for now, is entirely grassroots, and this is the first Oh, fueled by the people. And at least for now, it will remain that way. And then, of course, we'll be eligible for corporate and other public donations or funding. So, and then, of course, we'll be generating the seed money that we get from that will be generating income to support the thing on its own anyway, so it's going to take care of itself. But to get on the list of those who receive messages directly in the form of the digital media that I spoke about, please call me directly at the following number, which is 340-244-5176. And if I do not recognize your number, or if I am busy, I may not answer you right away. That's okay though. Leave a message and I will be sure to get back to you. Or you can email me at fairnone.vi@gmail.com. State your business in the subject line. My PayPal details are as follows: paypal.me/Everett Parker Jr. That's EverettParkerJr. Finally, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Hold on. This is not the end. Part 4 will be out shortly. This is a movement, and I am no longer working alone. Things are happening behind the scenes. We could use your support, no matter what ethnicity you are a part of. Looking back, nothing hateful was spoken here, just truth. Something good is happening here. The beginning of the breaking of all chains. You do want that, don't you? You could be a part of it. Once again, I am Cacique Fair None of the Everlasting Arawak Tribe of the Americas, the president and founder, for now, of what is formerly known as the Universal Intelligence Agency to what is now known as the Indigenous Intelligence Agency, and soon to become Institute, among other titles, which will be discussed at the appropriate time. It is time that I bid you farewell until next time. And if you're watching this message on social media, share this message. Until next time, I would like to leave you with these very powerful words as always. My favorite part: right on to the real and death to the fakers. Justify your existence or die like the motherfucking punk ass bitch that you know you are. Thank you very much for listening, and have a safe and enjoyable day. Carry on. 1.